Really make sure. Thank you. That's wonderful. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about John the Baptist. I've never done a message on John the Baptist before. I haven't heard this one from many.
Amen.
Three passages. We're going to look at three different three qualities, really, three aspects of John's life. Of course, John's role was, as we all know, to introduce Jesus so that he would be recognized, and also once his role was to baptize Jesus, and then of course we know as well as he was beheaded by John the Baptist under his wife's daughter Herodias' wishes, which children hopefully know from their family devotionals. Alright, so anyway, Luke chapter 3 is where we're going to start. The background here is just that John is a real, the thing particularly to emphasize, he's a man of tremendous conviction and a great quality that as Christians we obviously want to emulate. Luke, as he always does in chapter 3, gives a bit of instruction to the times, bit of the Old Testament instruction to John, and then we pick up in verse 7. It said, John said to the crowds coming out to be baptized by him, "You brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the coming wrath? Produce fruit in keeping with repentance, and do not say to yourselves, we have Abraham as our fathers. For I tell you that out of these stones God can raise up children for Abraham." We'll stop right there. This is a very helpful and insightful passage for us, because for one, it just really, communicates this real sense of conviction that our message as Christians really has about it. That there is an urgency that people get right with God. People, we will have a tendency to think we're better than other people. I'm not that bad. It was just the same back in these days. And these people would say, we're Jews, we're children of Abraham, and yet John the Baptist says, you might be a churchgoer, you might be a good person, you might have been baptized as a baby, and on goes the list. But really, that really counts for where the issue is right now. And of course, the thing that really I appreciate particularly about this passage is there's a great sense of fear of God. I wonder if you've had the experience of being around children who have been brought up without a fear of God. I always personally find that a bit of a disturbing thing. I praise God that in the church we're able to raise our children to fear God. But there are many people who are raised without that fear of God. And that's really what John the Baptist is addressing right here. Thankfully, that's not maybe quite so relevant to us, but maybe it is. In verse 9 it says, the axe is already at the root of the trees. And every tree that does not produce good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. John really gets the point here that these people may be Jews by name, but how are they living? Many people today, maybe on their births, certificates of kinds, they might write, Christian by birth or something. But John the Baptist is saying, that's really not what it's about. It's about, are we living lives that are consistent with Jesus' teachings? Verse 10, what should we do then, the crowd asked. Something I love here is that John gets down to specific life changes. John answers, the man with 2 tunics should share with him who has none. The one who has food should do the same. I really appreciate what Sharon shared about Zambia. It's such a small part for us to play, but it's a privilege for us to play a small role in somebody else's life like that. And that's really what John is preaching about right here. Verse 12, the tax collectors who came to be baptized. Teacher, they asked, what should we do? Don't collect any more than you're required to, he told them. Then some soldiers asked him, and what should we do? And he replied, don't extort money, and don't accuse people falsely. Be content with your pay. You know, John the Baptist was a man of tremendous conviction. And I pray for us as Christians today that we have that conviction too. As I was preparing this, I was really thinking about what's the important thing to emphasize here. I thought in John chapter 16, I'll read John 16 in verse 7 and following. It says, I tell you the truth, it is for good that I am going away. Unless I go away, the counselor will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. When he comes, he will convict the world of guilt in regard to sin, and righteousness and judgment. In regard to sin, because men do not believe in me. In regard to righteousness, because I am going to the Father, where you can see me no longer. And in regard to judgment, because the prince of this world now stands condemned. Now, I want to encourage all of us to have this, really just to see this wonderful quality that, John's Gospel clearly says, John says, the Holy Spirit comes and brings conviction to convict people of their sin, convict people of their lack of righteousness, convict people about the seriousness of life and death, which we've learned all about, focused on about this week. But, such of great importance that we have conviction about this. That we have conviction about being righteous. We have conviction about having righteous lives. That's the sort of person that John the Baptist was. Conviction has an amazing impact. When I first started off preaching, I used to think, well, I'm not a natural, I think a lot of people think this way, you probably think this way too. I'm not a natural public speaker. How do I have an impact? And I remember a fellow called James Lloyd, who was an incredible speaker. He said to me, the most important thing is conviction. The conviction speaks so loudly. You may not say things all correctly, you may not present things in the most beautiful, polished manner, but conviction, his words were, conviction covers over a multitude of very poor sermons. So, if you're in a position to speak, conviction is really the thing that marks John the Baptist and really marks us as Christians too. Jesus gives a very clear message, very clear, the gospel is very clear for us, and conviction brings it to life in a modern day, in relation to modern day. Turn to John chapter 3. Let's talk about a second passage about John the Baptist. John chapter 3. And time has rolled on a bit. People have noticed that people are going over to John, and in verse 26 they came to John and said to him, Rabbi, that man, Jesus, who was with you on the other side of the Jordan, the one you testified about, well, he is baptizing, and everyone is going to him. This was a bit of a surprise to John's followers, because John was an amazing, an incredible preacher to the point that people thought maybe this is the Messiah. Maybe he is the person who's going to, fulfill all those Old Testament prophecies. And then they see Jesus and they're a bit sort of sentimental about John. They're like, John, I don't know if I really feel very comfortable about this. That fellow you baptized the other side of the Jordan, everyone's going to him now. Doesn't that bother you, John? I mean, doesn't that sort of affect you, John? To this John replied, a man can only receive what is given to him from heaven. You yourselves can testify that I said, I am not the Christ, but I am sent ahead of him. The bride belongs to the bridegroom. The friend who attends the bridegroom waits and listens for him, and is full of joy when he hears the bridegroom's voice. That joy is mine, and is now complete. He must become greater, and I must become less. You know, an incredible quality right here that we, in our second passage about John we see, is that John doesn't need to be top dog. You know, there's a great need for human beings to be the top dog. You know, we present that in a lot of very subtle sort of ways. We want to be the best dressed person in the room. We want to look well. I'm not too concerned about that, but many people are concerned about that. Some people, they want to have the nicest car in the car park. Again, I'm not too concerned about that. Anna Oliver drove into my car in the car park and she was mortified. And she said, Tim, I'm really sorry. I drove into a car. I said, Anna, don't, it really doesn't matter at all. It's going into the ground. And her face was like, she was so relieved. But for many, you know, these vehicles, they mean so much. I remember parking when Ben was very young. He was in his car seat. I remember I parked next to this very new car, and I happened to nick his car as I opened the door. I didn't really think much of it. But a little while later, we were sitting in the, the Happy Eater or something in Birmingham, and this guy came rushing in and said, who drives that, particular car out there? And of course, it was me. You scratched my car. And he insisted it was tiny. I mean, it was less than a penny piece, which to me is very small. I'm sorry if you really fancy the car. But to me, it seemed very small. And I said, look, I'm really sorry, please go. First of all, I offered him £5. Really, thank you. And I said, okay. He went and got it, looked at in a proper repair place and charged me £150 for this. But that was fine. It meant a lot to him, and that's great. We have this way of, we really want to be top dog. Promotion means so much to us all the time. Not just simply because we're going to get an increase in wages, and that's very useful, but often we feel like, I'm being passed over, or I need the respect for this, or that. We're all like that. John the Baptist is impressive right here. Yeah. God's decided I've got a role to play. I'm happy to play that role, and Jesus has obviously a much bigger role to play, and I am who I am. What a fantastic quality for us to emulate. Turn your Bibles to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, a passage that's very familiar to us. I think it's why the church is described so helpfully as a body, like a human body. And in verse 12 of 1 Corinthians 12, it says that the body is a unit, though it is made up of many parts. And though all its parts are many, they form one body. So it is with Christ. That's how it is in the church. For we were all baptized by one Spirit into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, slaves or free. We are all given the one Spirit to drink. Now the body is not made up of one part, but of many. If the foot should say, I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I do not belong to the body, I would not for that reason cease to be part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? if the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has arranged the parts of the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As is, there are many parts, but one body. This is the picture of the church. We're all baptized with the same spirit, the same. We're equal before God, but we have different roles to play. John was very comfortable with just the fact that he was John, and I need to be comfortable about being Tim. I remember when I was leading a church, and again it was the Birmingham church, and there were amazing things. At that time, we started in the London church, and it'd been an incredible period for us. And then a lot of us went out to lead churches in different places. And I remember John Louis, who was here last week, or 2 weeks ago, he went off and led the church in Singapore. And Mark Templer, who was going to preach for us later in the year, he was off in Bangalore, and amazing things were happening. And there were these very uncomfortable messages that would come back. They're having X number of people baptized in Singapore, or Y number of people baptized in Bangalore. What is happening in Birmingham? And if Mark Templer was leading the church in Birmingham, then just amazing things will be happening. And these sort of things can really affect us in a very unhealthy sort of way. God doesn't want me to be called Mark, he wants me to be Tim. Right. He doesn't want you to be Tim, he wants you to be who you are. And God has planned that you be who you are. You have your strengths, you have your weaknesses. They're there for a particular reason. You're able to help them. The whole point of the passage in 1 Corinthians is that we're not all the same, and we're not all meant to be the same. We're all not meant to be amazing at the same things. We are all amazing at some things. You are amazing I'm amazing at being Tim, all right? You're amazing at being you. And God wants to use you as you are. And it took me quite a long time to really get that into my head, because when you're not comfortable about, yourself and your own situation and stuff, you start to have all sorts of weird competitive feelings that I should be doing this, or you feel, and you're down on yourself, and all sorts of, very, very unhealthy sorts of things. If only I was, like John Wesley, or if only I was like this person, or that person, or whatever. And it's all incredibly healthy. John the Baptist was like that. He said, I've got a role to play, I shall play that role, and that is my role to play. And exactly the same way for us. I remember when this time last year when Mohan and Michelle were reaching out to their neighbours, Cyrus and Sylvia. And Cyrus and Sylvia came to church, and it was so encouraging to say the Bible with them. But they are Mohan and Michelle's neighbours. They're not my neighbours. They're not your neighbours. But each of us has our situation which we're in, and we have our different opportunities in which we're in. We can't go around comparing ourselves with each other. I'm feeling like, how come Jesus is doing greater things than you are, John? We're on your side. You're our top dog. And John's like, no, I must become less, and he must become greater. What an impressive attitude. I'm just able to be who I am meant to be. I believe for us as Christians, we really function at our best when we're happy being us. You've got a situation this week, you've got a situation today, you've got some opportunities, whatever. They are uniquely your opportunities. They're for you. God has given you those opportunities. God has given you particular talents, particular abilities, and you can use those talents in that amazing way. There is no place in the church for comparing ourselves with each other. Thinking that somehow if I was like so-and-so, I'll be a lot more. I mean, I can wish all I want to be able to lead singing like Rudy or Malcolm, but it's just not going to happen, alright? So why don't I sit there and let them lead sing? In exactly the same way, you may not be, sometimes in life you feel like we haven't made the best choices. Tony Heath, who I really treasure as just a really great spiritual friend and great part of the church here, Tony and Karen. Tony said to me, he said, I always used to be rather apologetic. I always used to feel a bit like, I wasn't really as good as other people. And when I used to speak, I didn't used to really speak with a lot of conviction and confidence, because I always felt like, I bought my house at the wrong time, it got negative equity, and I just did everything at the wrong time. I had a career when I should have been building my career. I was doing other things, and I just really made some big mistakes in my life. I just bought at the wrong time, I did the things at the wrong time. But then Tony said to me, he said, I realised that actually I'm the person in the church who can help people to become Christians who have just made all the wrong decisions at the wrong time. That was just such a great way. And nowadays when we see Tony preaching or speaking, he can speak with such confidence. And he is Tony. It's so important for us just to be us. Maybe things have happened in our lives that really rock our confidence. Maybe we didn't come from an ideal family situation. Maybe our career hasn't been ideal. Maybe we didn't make the most of our opportunities to build our career when other people did. Maybe we bought our house at the wrong time. Maybe this happened, maybe that happened. But God can use you to help people with those unique talents and those unique abilities. So that's important for us to remember. The last passage we're going to look at is Matthew chapter 11. Now, at this stage, John the Baptist has been imprisoned, and I'll read from verse 1, Matthew 11, verse 1. After Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to preach, and preached in the towns in Galilee. When John heard in prison what Christ was doing, he sent his disciples to ask him, are you the one who is to come, or should we expect somebody else? It's very interesting right here that we see John having, he's in prison, things haven't worked out the way that he expected them to be. And he sends a message to John to Jesus saying, this doesn't seem to be going to plan. Is this really how it's meant to be? Have you had times like that? I bet you have. I've had times like that. You think this just doesn't really seem to add up right now? Should we expect someone else? Jesus replied, go back and rebuke John severely for his lack of faith. No. He says, go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk. Those who have leprosy are cured. The deaf hear, the dead are raised. The good news is preached to the poor. Blessed is the man who does not fall away on account of me. As John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began to speak to the crowd about John. What did you go out into the desert to see? A reed swayed by the wind? If not, what did you go out to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? No, those who wear fine clothes are in king's palaces. What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, I will send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you. I tell you the truth, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been forcefully advancing, and forceful men lay hold of it. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you're willing to accept it, he is He is the Elijah who was to come. He who has ears, let him hear. To what can I compare this generation? They're like children sitting in the marketplace and calling out to others. We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and you say he is a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say he's a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by her actions. There's a lot here in this passage to really help us. One is just how to help each other with our doubts and struggles. I think I speak for all of us here that I was so sad on Tuesday when I heard the doctor died. I mean, when we lose someone like that, it doesn't seem to make sense. There's we feel for the family and we help for Johnson and it's really like, why, God, is this, and John the Baptist is struggling with that sort of feeling. He's like, here I am in prison, I've been treated horrendously, I've got this awful food to eat, I'm not given enough water to drink, it's terrible. Is this really the way it's meant to be? This is not the way that I planned it would be, Jesus. There's a wonderful passage in Jude. Jude, it's only one chapter, verse 22. And it says, Jude, it says, be merciful to those who doubt. Snatch others from the fire and save them. To others show mercy mixed with fear. Hate even the clothing stained by corrupted flesh. Be merciful to those who doubt. When we're struggling, we need people who will be merciful and encouraging towards us. That's what Jesus was to John the Baptist in this situation. He simply sent him back a message saying, this is rude, but, be merciful to those who doubt. Snatch others from the fire, save them, to others show mercy mixed with fear. This is such a, just a wonderful quality that John the Baptist has right here, how Jesus has right here towards John the Baptist. Just be sympathetic towards each other's doubts. One thing I really appreciate about Ben today is that Ben has one of these brains that really works extremely fast. Some people have that, but the downside of that is that you sort of see around corners that you won't necessarily, most other people don't see around. And Ben, even from when he was younger, asked me these questions about, what about this and this and this, what's about God? We have these really long discussions. And but now I really appreciate Ben, instead of being derailed by questions, use them actually to be stronger so as to help other people. Sometimes our doubts are so valuable to help other people. Our struggles. There are times in our lives where we feel like, what is God? Where is God right now? Now, through faith, we sort of know in the future, we look back and we'll think this actually will make perfect sense. But at that particular moment, there is frustration, there's a feeling of this is not the way it's meant to be, this is, God did this and this, and we might even think of scriptures, we might even think of argument sides, and we think this is not the way it's meant to be. Yeah. And yet, later in our life, we'll be able to see that actually what we went through there ideally kids us out to help somebody else maybe in a similar situation in the future, or because of a particular thing we're able to empathize with somebody else, and that's how we have to be with each other. it's not, well, this church was much greater if Mohan rebuked more people, or if Penny, really just, got with, Karina after church. Okay, there is a time when we need to be very direct with each other, but also there's a great time we have to really encourage and support and be very sympathetic towards each other as we face life's challenges. And Jesus says very clearly, he says, what did you really go out to see? Did you go out to see somebody dressed in amazing clothes? Of course not, that's what, people live in palaces well, but he says, he went to see John the Baptist. In verse 12 he says, days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been forcefully advancing, and forceful men lay hold of it. There are many scriptures that just really speak so loudly. This to me is one. It's incredible because it is tough to be a Christian. It's not just an easy option. And Jesus here says that that you need a courage about you if you're going to be a Christian. Being a Christian is not just flowing with the current. Just see where the current takes me. It's fighting against all the things that get in our way. There'll be times when you'll feel quite justified in being resentful of somebody, but you have to let that resentment go. Yeah. There are times when you're unfairly treated, and you remember Jesus. Remember that he was unfairly treated, and so on and so on. It says forceful people become Christians. That's an inspiring thing. You're not going to be a Christian by lacking backbone. It's just not going to happen. Being a Christian is going to be like, let's switch on the TV and let's see who's won X Factor. It's just not. It's not that picture. It's a picture of, having to make tough decisions. Recently we had the team retreat, really great, and I really appreciate John and Nicole and many other people, Rachel and others who helped with it, Ben who helped with it. It was brilliant. But it's really inspiring. Just encourage the team to really want the teams to make those courageous decisions, to be brave, to become Christians. But we know it's not easy for them. And we know we can't do it for them. They've got to actually build their own faith in the same way as we've all had to. Forceful men and women lay hold of the kingdom of God. And forceful men and women hang on to it when things are really tough. And then Jesus says, John the Baptist and me, we're quite different. John the Baptist, he wore his camel hair and his, ate this wild honey and this stuff, and you said, well, he's really unrelatable, he's a really sort of like, he's a demon. And then I come along, you call me a glutton and a drunkard because I hang out with the tax collectors and the sinners. But the verse at the end there, in the verse 19 says, but wisdom is proved right by her actions. It may be tough for you to be spiritual. It may be tough for you to make a decision to be a Christian. It may be tough for you to remain faithful to God through these tough times. But the beauty of scripture like this is, that at the end of it all, wisdom is proved right by her children. And to me, it's really very, it's a very inspiring scripture. So, as we think about John the Baptist, let's appreciate this, this man of tremendous conviction, and yet this man who also struggled with his doubts. This man who was happy to fit in and play God's plan and play the part that God had planned for him and be used by God in that way. Thank you very much.